you need to create something so useful, practical, and beautiful that people are dying to introduce it to their friends and family. And even if their friends and family, are a little bit skeptical, they'll go through the steps of setting up a MetaMask, sending them Axies, right? And getting, and just, basically having that level of conviction that, hey, once they use this, they're going to love it.
Layer 1 is a podcast and community dedicated to helping you master all things crypto. We'll be bringing you the best interviews with project executives, technical analysis for trading of the most popular cryptocurrencies, and insight into what's actually happening behind the scenes.
As you join us each episode, you're going to hear about tokens, fundraisers, investments, and even crypto conspiracies. But please remember that nothing we say should be considered financial or legal advice.
Come join us on this journey, and welcome to Layer 1. All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Another great NFT giant I've got with me. I've got Jiho, the community growth manager over at Axie Infinity. This is going to be an amazing interview. As always, Jiho was here, I believe, about 3 or 4 months ago, so we're glad to have him back. He is in the States right now. So what's going on, Jiho?
Hey, what's up, man? Good to be back. So yeah, it seems like, just yesterday when I was on here for the first time. Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no worries, man. We were talking everything NFTs last time, but Axie has done so many things since then. And we're going to just kind of touch on Axie and not really talk on the general NFT stuff. I think we've gotten to the point where we can just really hone in and focus. But before we get to Axie itself, let me know what you've been up to, man. Like you said, it's been like 3 or 4 months. We were just talking DeFi prior to the episode. So what's it been like the last 4 months?
Yeah, things have been amazing, man. I got married.
So I got married. Congrats.
Yeah, that was obviously huge, and I'm so happy about that. And then, yeah, Axie has been growing like crazy. So that's kind of, so that's really kind of defined the last couple of months for us, or the last quarter. Seems like, yeah, right after we spoke, or, right as ever since we spoke, Axie's just been on kind of a growth spurt that it's kind of built in momentum. So that's been crazy to see. It's been amazing. We've been around for almost 3 years, and we've been building a very strong foundation where, the community is really tight knit, and we've been thinking about the right problems. We've been thinking about how to actually help our users and create tangible benefits for using our products. So I think, the last couple of months have just been the culmination of a long journey in building, and basically there's building on the technical end, but also community building. And it seems like, once we started to get the narratives right around, people in the in the Philippines, Indonesia, playing Axie Infinity to earn a living, and that spurred massive growth. As more people realize that, this is real, like the future of work is changing, and playing a video game can be a real, either a side income or a job, depending on where you live in the world. So I think things are just been coming together. We've never doubted that this was going to happen. It was just kind of, I don't think anyone really doubted us, but it was just like, we always thought that this was going to happen, and now it's kind of unfolding as we expected. Maybe even a little bit earlier than we might have thought. We always thought that, hey, once we have the governance token out and people can earn that by playing the game, and we have land, like, everything is just going to explode. But things started to really go exponential, like even before that. So.
Yeah, I want to get into kind of the deeper conversations within Axie, but for those who are just hearing about Axie, just hearing about yourself, I'd be surprised at whoever that is. But for those people that are out there, what is Axie Infinity, and how did you kind of, in a very short time frame, right? We don't want to spend all episode, we want to get deep, kind of go through your kind of genesis as well as what Axie Infinity is, for those people that don't know.
Yeah, definitely. So Axie Infinity is a digital pet universe. You can battle, collect these fierce and pretty adorable creatures called Axies. And you can earn a variety of different tokens just by playing the game. I think I also want to stress that, Axie Infinity it's kind of an IP. There are many different games that we'll be building on top of these pets. So that's Axie. We currently have a governance token out access. So, our dream is to become the first game that's kind of owned and operated by its community. So, we just had that token to go through the Binance Launchpad process. It's been a really awesome time for the community.
Yeah, I want to get to that AXS token, man. I think that's a really important cog in what you guys are doing. But let's talk on that SLP token, because I know SLP launched around the time that we were talking last time, and I know I picked up a ton of traffic on crypto mainstream media. What happened with the SLP token? Why did it kind of shoot up in value and draw all that interest? And what's its use today? Is it still kind of being used by the community?
Yeah, definitely. So, the small love potion, or SLP, is a utility token with an Axie Infinity. Yeah, you use it to breed new Axies. So we came from the CryptoKitty community originally, and so one of the things that so we had two main problems with that ecosystem, right? Was one is like we just wanted to have more fun. We wanted to actually do something with our assets, and then two is like we wanted a more well thought out and well designed like inflation system. So yeah, that's kind of that's been in our DNA since the beginning. Is like basically having a well reasoned and reasonable kind of inflation rate for the pets within our ecosystem. So basically SLP is required to breed Axies, and so the emission rate, or how much SLP is created each day, basically translates into how many new Axies can be born each day. So there's and then when you breed them, they're burned. So yeah, it's been cool to see. And yeah, definitely that was how the play to earn meme kind of first really made it into I think that was the big thing that SLP did, is people realized that, hey, this thing has a liquidity pool on Uniswap. Anyone anywhere in the world can earn this by playing Axie and sell it, and basically democratizes being a professional video game player.
Yeah, I know you were talking about those inflection points, and sometimes you need a moment to kind of take off, right? I think you guys would have, like you said, eventually got here anyways, but that SLP token doing what it did definitely helped a lot. Was it a town in the Philippines that actually got more media as well, and kind of was highlighted by a bunch of the community members within that little town kind of playing? What are they doing?
Yeah. So the story there is, I was looking for bots, and I saw, hey, like there are 12 people like all using, or this 12 computers or 12 devices using the same IP to play Axie Infinity in the Philippines. Like, oh, like maybe they're running, some bots. So then I banned them, and then someone messaged me saying like, hey, because sometimes what we'll do is we'll ban to see, whether they defend themselves and yeah. So basically ban them, and then I got a message. And I said, yeah, like, can you prove that, there's actually like 15 people in your family, playing? So they sent me a video, and then I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
That's
like,
amazing.
And, the grandma was playing, the uncle was playing, the children were playing. So there's like 3 generations all playing Axie Infinity under the same roof. And I thought that, hey, this is actually a historic moment. This is the first family, multi-generational family using a decentralized application under the same roof. So CoinDesk reporter found out about it, and yeah, I guess the rest is history. So so I think really there's these certain moments, there's these certain kind of narratives and stories that kind of exemplify our ecosystem, and sometimes narrative forms around them, and that brings a lot of attention to Axie.
So you banned a whole family from playing your video game. I see that, Jiho, man. That's crazy. All right. So I want to continue down kind of that rabbit hole, because I was recently looking through my timeline. Jiho, you're an amazing follow when it comes to the NFT space. So if you guys are trying to follow that, I'll have it in the description below. But you got at the fact that NFTs could almost be the adoption layer of crypto. Well, kind of break that down for those people out there. I think it's self-explanatory, but also I think can be expounded upon a little bit.
In order for blockchain to get the attention of everyday people, it's not just going to be about, hey, like being your own bank and like using these complex like financial applications like most people though, they don't like, they don't know that they need to be earning 5% interest instead of 0% interest. And, they may only have $500. So that, that whole thing the benefits don't really scale or make sense to them. So I think that, yeah, play to earn games and games that are cute and interesting and, eye catching, that's going to actually be what, for a lot of people attracts them to the gaming, to the blockchain space, right? And then once, they're playing these games, then they may interact with Uniswap without even knowing, what they're really doing. So, thousands of Axie players got the Uni airdrop, right? And they were thanking us. They were thanking me, in many cases, thanking me personally. They thought that I had, created Uniswap and that it was part of Axie, right? Because like these guys, they're just saying, they're trying to click buttons on the internet and make money while having a good time. They don't really care like necessarily about certain things. So I think like having fun and having a tangible benefit of play to earn, I think that's really something that will attract and kind of get through the fog and the noise to everyday people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of detractors about the adoption of crypto when it comes to kind of the UX and UI. It's always been a theory of mine that as long as the crypto platform or what they were earning or yada 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 was valuable enough, people would find a way. Because
Exactly.
how did they get past? Like you have a whole now family kind of interacting with MetaMask, right? That's always, I feel like the detractors like that would
Yeah.
never happen. Your grandmother would never use it.
Like UX problems and like hurdles, like those are excuses used by teams that don't have adoption and don't have traction. That's real. Like as long as you focus on the benefits, you're gonna, and you're able to design a system that works. And there are gonna be people out there, and that community is gonna grow. But yeah, it's very rare. What I'll say is what we're doing, what we have achieved is very rare and it's very hard. It takes years, I think. It takes years of, technical development and community development at the same time. And very few projects have both of that, happening for them.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. You're really carrying a lot of the flag and the load for the NFT sector right now. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. So let's get into, I'm on your website right now, axieinfinity.com /AXS gets you to kind of the token page. And AXS just launched. You guys are a part of Binance Launchpad. You can go through that story. But I definitely want to talk about the cycle within that ecosystem. I know there's a treasury involved that eventually users will be able to stake to and receive some rewards based on what you guys are pulling in. So yeah, let me know kind of that whole primer on the token itself.
Definitely. So I guess the overarching goal for the AXS token is to really align the incentives between everyone in the ecosystem, right? So the Axie core team, Sky Mavis, the competitive players, the farmers, the landholders, the content creators, everyone needs kind of a common asset that they hold so that they can kind of push forward together and have some kind of glue that unifies the community. And so that's, very high level, the principle behind the token. In terms of the mechanics, so we worked with Delphi Digital on the mechanics design, and we think that it makes a lot of sense. So general principle is that, all of the fees and that are generated by Axie, so the 4.25% marketplace commission, the breeding fee, and also future things like future land sales, right? So we've only sold 25% of the land in the universe, and so yeah, all these fees and all these primary sales, they will then be going into a community treasury, and eventually. The idea is that, so as the community treasury grows and grows, that's kind of a, all future value accrual to the token. And then, yeah, so, we'll have a staking system too. So, newly issued tokens will be going to stakers, and they'll also be going into our play to earn system. So, but just earning the token by playing the game. we'll also have an ecosystem fund, so that really, you know, kind of incentivizes content creators. And so yeah, I think that's the general principle behind the token. And I think it's really well designed. And I think Axie is, you know, we're unlike a lot of projects with tokens. I think we're actually ready to have a token, right? Because like we had a strong community, strong product with traction first, and then we introduced the token later, right? So we've proven that, you know, we already have something that's sticky and that can bond people together. Now we're just, you know, trying to add the kind of the cherry on top that, you know, kind of unifies everybody, and also kind of acts as a new level of incentive alignment, and in some ways like this decentralization, right? Because we don't think that Axie will be as big as we want it to be if the Sky Mavis core team is taking all the fees within the ecosystem. We would rather have 20% of a huge pie than 100% of a very small pie. So I think that's the general principle.
That incentive alignment, I think, is really interesting because that's happening in games now. It's happening with social tokens. You see a lot of the fair launch stuff that's happened in DeFi. What you're trying to do is get tokens into the hands of people that are, you know, loving what you're doing, you know, and they can take a part. You guys are growing this community. I think, like you said, the community incentives are there. How do you scale this as like a team? You guys are growing so quickly. I know you talked to me before the episode, and you were talking about how most of your time right now is being spent on just community communication, essentially. So how do you scale this? What's your thoughts on growing a community that you've grown already with Axie?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Since we last spoke, growth is really hockey sticked. I think we're getting between 200 to 300 new Axie holders a day, around 300 new downloads a day. You know, well, last week we had 3,000 new downloads for the application. So it's happening. Like, I think, you know, what we're really seeing is that our core community members are beginning to introduce their real life friends and family to Axie Infinity, right? And you know, I think you need to create something so useful, practical, and beautiful that people are dying to introduce it to their friends and family. And even if their friends and family, you know, are a little bit skeptical, they'll go through the steps of setting up a MetaMask, sending them Axies, right? And just, you know, basically having that level of conviction that, hey, once they use this, they're gonna love it. That's always the problem. And even in our early days, right? I would ask like, I would ask our players, why don't you introduce your friends and family to Axie? They're like, oh, like they might not understand it. There's no clear way for them to use their time and effort to kind of you know, create value. So, you know, that's why, you know, once the play to earn system, like, you know, started to really make sense in terms of the numbers, that's when, you know, people started, you know, introducing Axie to the, you know, if their friend lost a job, they'd be like, hey, why, you know, while you're looking for a job, why don't you play this game? I even saw myself doing it where, you know, I would rarely tell people in my life, like my real life, I guess, about Axie. But then it was like, my friend was like, yo, I'm driving Uber. I was like, oh, like, dude, while you're driving Uber, while you're waiting for a ride request, you should play Axie. And then, you know, you're going to basically turn that down zero time into, you know, at least something. Anyways, so yeah, I really think that, you know, it's about creating a strong community that believes in you, that has the conviction to show what you're doing to the rest of the world. Yeah, and I think it's also about, you know, leading by example and showing them, you know, the ways to do that. And so I think that, yeah, in terms of scaling, yeah, as long as you have like, you know, you make sure that everyone in the ecosystem really understands like why you're building what you're building, right? It's like you have to understand why you're doing it. Like, what is your vision? Like, you know, why is it important? And I think if they understand that, then they're gonna, you know, the community is gonna go out there and spread the word for you. And you know, it's not gonna be like there's no silver bullet. It's all about growing, you know, 5% a week. If you get to 10% a week, then you're killing it, and you just have to wait, right? So it's yeah. There's no such thing as like that's also just how these networks, like these crypto is about network effects. Crypto has is like the king of network effects. So it really does take just 1 or 2% a day, over years, that really just compounds. So
we're talking about adoption. We're talking about community growth. What are some things that you guys are doing on the horizon as far as it comes to that user experience? I think we're both in agreement that people take that a little bit too far, but at the same time,
yeah, definitely.
we should be building tools. I know Ronin was one thing you guys were talking about early on. What are some things you guys are doing to maybe avoid some pitfalls of adoption?
Yeah, definitely. So we're working on our on Ronin, which is our our application-specific Ethereum sidechain just for Axie, at least initially. So that will greatly reduce fees, and then we'll also be building a native wallet for that. That native wallet will have like social login, and basically for newcomers and people who might not have thousands of dollars worth of crypto, be a kind of a much easier way to get introduced and acquainted with the ecosystem. And we'll also have basically this idea of soul-bound Axies, where you'll basically be able to start playing the game. It'll just be that with some starter Axies that these aren't blockchain assets, but you'll be able to start playing. You might not be able to earn, but you'll at least be able to tell, hey, is this game fun? Are these Axies cute? And obviously, we believe in what we're building towards this, the game being fun and the Axies being beautiful and cute. So yeah, we think that that's also going to help a lot as well.
Yeah, you're talking specifically about the Axies, which are like, for those that don't know, obviously like Pokemon, where you're kind of being able to own and then battle these different assets. But you recently introduced land. What was the genesis? Was that always in play? I know, I had Andrew Steinwald on the channel earlier this week, and we talked about metaverses. You guys are essentially creating your own metaverse. So what was the genesis and thoughts behind land, and where is it headed for those people that are super deep into Axie?
Yeah, so we had this initial concept of terrariums, which was, or like, Axies are kind of like, these pets, and every pet needs a house, right? And so Masamune, a lot of our team members, so Masamune is like our art director, and he does actually a lot of game design as well. He grew up, collecting reptiles and stuff like that, right? So so basically we had this idea for a terrarium feature, where you could, put your Axies, pet them, look at them, bathe them, and get different items that could upgrade them in battle and stuff like that. And but yeah, then I think we also got really inspired by games like Stardew Valley. We thought that was really awesome, right? It's this idea where you're starting a new life, farming, gathering resources. So I think we had so basically the land concept kind of really evolved out of that idea, and it's kind of taken a life of its own. The way that I like to think of it is kind of like a mashup of Pokemon and Stardew Valley, and maybe even Animal Crossing to some degree. And
so
obviously,
yeah. So what are some details about land going forward? I know, if you can give me a timeline, you guys recently, maybe not recently announced, but you recently basically are launching the land sales. I'm not caught up on the land portion of Axie. So
yeah,
if you can
definitely.
give me those details.
Yeah, so we're working internally on releasing some initial land gameplay to the public. Hopefully early next year, I would say. It could even be this year, but let's say early next year is the goal, or realistic goal. And then so we sold the land between. We started the first land sale in 2019. So we've sold 25% of the land so far, and all of that land in the first land sale is sold out. And if you want to buy land now, it's like you have to buy it from other players. So it's only secondary market right now. And that market has gotten really hot recently. I think people are we're if you read the development updates that we put out each month, they kind of talk a little bit about, you know, our progress and, you know, what's going on, and we give some art previews. So it seems like we started doing that in May, and it seems like, you know, the community's really gotten really excited about what we've, the glimpses that we've shown to them so far.
Yeah, definitely. Again, going back to the conversation with Andrew earlier this week, we talked about metaverses and kind of the different, I wouldn't call them even competing land sales and different things like that, but it got me interested on the process by which you're releasing land, and also in the future, are you going to need to supply more land? Is there going to be an inflation of land? He got me super involved in kind of the land process. So so you have the rest of the 75% land. Is that just going to be given out to users over time, or is that going to be another sale? What's the plan with the physical land?
Yeah, definitely. So we haven't thought too much about the other sales yet, other than we know that we'll do them once we have some initial land gameplay out there, so people can kind of, you know what's going on a little bit more. And then yeah, and then there are also things where, you know, the first land sale happened when, you know, Axie was much smaller than it is now. Right now, it's like if we make them too slow, if we make the price too low, you know, unless we find some way to limit it, you know, one person or a couple of people could just buy the entire thing, you know, immediately. So there are different things that we need to keep into account.
So you guys recently partnered with Aave. With this partnership, you're allowing Axie users to earn Aave as well as maybe purchase Ghost NFTs, like Ghost themed NFTs, obviously because of Aave. So take me through that partnership, man. What's going on with them, with you guys and Stanny?
Yeah, man. So, you know, we've always been, there are a couple of teams in DeFi that, you know, we think have been doing a really good job. And, you know, we've been doing these collabs for a while. So, you know, we first did MakerDAO in June of 2019. So, you know, almost a year and a half ago. So we've been bullish on the idea of DeFi and NFTs, at least the teams, like combining and working to kind of introduce, you know, the NFT community to the idea of DeFi and vice versa. And we've been big believers in that for a while. So we're big fans of Aave as well, and you know, obviously they're a powerhouse in the space. You know, they're doing really big things for adoption as well, because they recently just got a banking license in the UK, I believe. So yeah, we reached out to them. They're receptive to the idea, and you know, it's always good. I think, you know, there'll be $4,000 with the Aave that can be earned through the Axie ladder which starts this Monday, and we'll also basically, for anyone who has at least 0.65 Aave, you basically will be able to claim an Aave themed NFT basically a month from now. So the snapshot date is a month from now. So, you know, you can do it at basically register at any time, as long as you're holding that amount of Aave when the snapshot is taken 1 month from now. And yeah, you know, historically there's been a lot of demand for those things. So yeah, you know, I'd highly recommend the viewers to check it out. I think it's a cool chance to own. You know, our artists are amazing. I think they're the best artists in the NFT space. I think that's an underrated reason for, you know, why we, you know, have the most users and the most volume.
Can I pry any potential partnerships in the future out of you today?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess our main principle for partnerships is we're looking to work with teams that are larger than us, that, you know, and that have like really, really great reputations, and that can actually help us. So yeah, you know, I think, you know, it's definitely fair to think that we'll be looking at ways that, you know, other DeFi projects can you know, add value to our ecosystem, basically by, you know, kind of combining communities and welcoming them into the Axie family. But yeah, I mean, you know, we've also obviously in the past done things with Ubisoft. We're currently in their entrepreneurship labs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Samsung has helped us. We're in their blockchain wallet, and we hope to do more things with them in the future. Cacao, through their project, and so like I think we're always looking to introduce bigger players to the idea of NFTs and blockchain games, because as an industry we need as many allies as possible.
Amazing, man. Great answer to that question. So my last question here on Axie itself before we kind of pop out to NFTs and end the episode. I feel like lore is kind of overlooked in the metaverse today. You guys are obviously launching that land sale. I think lore maybe is put on the back burner because community don't get to your size. And I don't think maybe people even think about that. They're thinking about more about the experience and the adoption. What's the lore like for Axie? I know that that's kind of an abstract question.
Definitely. Yeah, I think lore is actually one of the things that, I'm glad that you mentioned it. I even just wrote down as like, hey, I'm gonna push internally on some lore stuff, because we have done some stuff internally on lore, and yeah, we just haven't really pushed it across the finish line at any point, in terms of like at least releasing a document or something for the community to kind of learn a little bit about some of the specifics of the universe. So yeah, I think that's really interesting that you brought that up. I'm glad that you asked me about it, and yeah, I think the community really wants to know more about the Axie universe. There is a kind of basic framework for lore, and we've had a couple of drafts internally. So yeah, maybe with land, that'd be a good kind of that would be a good time to release a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think I was going to pressure you a little bit more on this lore topic, but I'm going to let you guys launch and let you do that with your community before we kind of announce anything on here or kind of
Sure.
let it slip. So I'm going to hop out of Axie, but before we do, did we miss anything on what you guys have coming up that you want to get out before we get to kind of the broader NFT space?
Yeah, I mean, I would think, I would just say that anyone who wants to learn more about Axie, you can listen to what we're saying here and you can get one sense of it. But I think the best way to really understand what we're about is to, join the Discord, start, asking questions to the community, have them guide you through the process too. Not just because it's going to make your life easier, but also because you're gonna really see the size and the strength of the community just by being in the Discord and popping around and asking questions. So that's my main recommendation is just come find us on Discord, discord.gg/Axie. Very easy to find.
Yeah, and I'll have all the links in the description for the website, the Discord, pretty much everything you need as far as Axie is concerned will be in the description for you guys. So, Jiho, last question, and this is going to be kind of a broad kind of discussion here. As far as the NFT sector is concerned, what maybe concerns you? What needs to be improved? I think collectibles are something that's being heavily inflated, and there's a lot of projects that are just launching collectibles with no utility whatsoever. There's a couple others. I think there's other metaverses launching, but just in the NFT sector in general, what is your take on kind of the state of the union of NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. We should always be optimistic. I think, we're definitely gaining momentum. More people are learning about NFTs. I do think that we need more fun experiences, I think. A lot of the experiences tend to be centered around just collectibles and just flexing on Twitter and Discord. And I think it's still always going to be, that's going to be a lot about what the space is, because it's actually very social. Right? It's like, hey, I have this, like you can see that I own this because it's very easy for me to link my wallet, right? And so there's, now kind of like, it's like leaderboards, collecting leaderboards, are basically going to become more of a thing too. So I will say that, that will always be an element of the space. But I also think that we need, we also need fun experiences. I want to see more play to earn games pop up, because I think that those will also be great onboarding ramps for Axie, where someone starts playing some other game for play to earn and then comes to Axie. Right now, like I think there's definitely it might sound weird for me to say this, right? It's like, oh, like why would you want more competitors? But I actually think that if the more play to earn games that are out there that have good economies and good mechanics, that's also going to help out Axie as those people start to add other games into the mix, right? It's like, yeah. I was thinking, I was like talking to someone yesterday. I was asking my wife, is like, why is Hulu big and also Netflix is big, right? But it's like they're kind of complementary because people want a variety, right? So I think it's like if people play one play to earn game, they're also going to want to play other play to earn games. So I want to see more play to earn games, basically more like fun blockchain games out there. And yeah, I think some are looking to like launch and yeah.
I love that, man. It reminds me of some of the conversations Pomp has about bigger firms kind of stepping their toes into Bitcoin a little bit and then getting exposure to other tokens based on that initial exposure. They become more comfortable to it. I think that's a great point. All right. So this is the end of the episode. Jiho, it's amazing to have you on. I've got a book recommendation question that I want to hit you with. I know you gave us one last time, and I know you're a big fan of military history. I think the last thing I wanted to get from you is like, how are you enjoying US? I know the last time we talked, you were in Asia, and now you're traveling in the US. Are you enjoying your time back?
Yeah, man, it's been good. It's been good. Obviously it's been interesting, like, cause I'm here, for the couple months right before the election, and now after the election. So, yeah, it's been good, man. Yeah, I have been reading a lot. I read the biography of Elon Musk, which I found fascinating. A most understudied part of Elon Musk's life is like his conception of what PayPal should have been, because PayPal has never really reached the lofty aspirations that Elon had for it. In fact, yeah, I think like what Elon wanted PayPal is actually what Ethereum is becoming. Like basically the place that all transactions on the internet happen. So maybe if PayPal had, maybe if Elon was still the CEO of PayPal, Ethereum would have less opportunity. But because that change happened, Ethereum has a huge opportunity right now. So that's definitely, yeah, people should definitely look into that. I was kind of fascinated by that aspect. And yeah, I'm also reading this book now called Contagious. It's like about like why certain ideas spread. So that's been also helpful.
Why do certain ideas spread?
Or
did you just start the book?
No, so, I mean, without making stuff up, I'm pretty early into it, but basically, certain things are kind of like awe-inspiring, and they give people social capital when they talk about them, right? So like everyone wants to be interesting, right? So it's like, why do certain things become word of mouth, right? And the idea is like, everyone wants to be interesting and to talk about interesting stuff. So yeah, basically like, try and think of like, how can I do something, or how can our product do something that is, gonna make it so that anyone who tells people about us is gonna, kind of score social capital within their friend group or their family, right? So that's why, that's also, I think, like why Axie has started to spread with this idea of play to earn, right? Because at the beginning it was like, yeah, like check out what I'm doing, like I'm collecting these balls on Ethereum, and people are just like, oh, that's cool. But then, think of how much more compelling the idea of like, hey, like I'm playing this game, like I'm making $4 an hour just for playing this game, and it's pretty cute. Like, check it out, it's on my phone, right? And that's also why, like, I believe Axie is growing too, is because we're a mobile app. We have a mobile app, right? So it's like, it's something that's cute, it's portable, anyone can show it to their friends and family, and then there's a hook, right? It's like, hey, like I'm earning money, do you want to know more? Oh, this is cute. And then they're kind of, from there, there's an entry. So
between Elon potentially inventing Ethereum or something of the sort too.
Dude, I'm telling you, Elon will come out like in favor of Ethereum one day, and it's gonna like blow everyone's minds. He even said it once, right? It was like when the SEC like banned him from tweeting about securities or something. He just tweeted Ethereum. So you know that Elon is like, how is when Mars is colonized, they're gonna be using Ethereum. Like there is no legacy financial system that can work on Mars. So they're just going to be getting SpaceX satellites that allow them to access Ethereum, right?
Guys, we're going down a huge route. All right, second episode. All right, this is the start of the second episode. But yeah, Jiho, it's been amazing. We will have this convo after the episode probably, but we have to send you guys listening at home off. So this has been a great one with Axie Infinity with Jiho. We'll have you guys back here in the next 6 months, man, and have another conversation about Elon and Mars and all the things that we need to get down to business on.
For sure, man. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to check out Layer 1 on all the audio and video platforms listed in the description. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next week.